Constitution can't speak for themselves. They can't defend themselves. And that's why they have to have people like us to come up here and defend the Constitution. Just because the lawmakers in this building want to pass a law does not mean it's constitutional. Just because the lawmakers in this building wave the flag and say they're patriotic does not mean that they know what's best for this country. But we have a responsibility to make sure that America stays the way it is. That
what?
It only improves, it doesn't go back.
America what is going on here? Who is this guy?
Ahmed Bedier.
What is Ahmed Bedier doing starting the TrentoVision show? That's what I want to know. Who did this?
It was me.
Imam Abdullah?
It was me, Tom.
Oh, you're getting a little frisky on Freaky Friday, Jumpin' Juma Friday, Freaky Day.
Yes, I just come out of the Juma, so I'm feeling frisky.
Okay, well, don't do it again, all right? No, this is not the Ahmed Bedier show. This is the TrentoVision show. Remember that. On the 19th, this is a big day in anti-government history. This is a big day. It's also a big day for TrentoVision.tv, Friday, April 19th at a couple of minutes past 5 o'clock here on the East Coast. Welcome, everybody. Tom Trento, your host. And CJ, my co-host, is not with us today. She's preoccupied with some other stuff. We miss her. But we do have that Muslim guy. We do have him. Where have you been, Abdullah?
Oh, I have been here and there, and I even went to Tallahassee for the Muslim Capital Day.
Oh, it was Muslim Capital Day this week.
Yes, Muslim Capital Day on Tuesday.
I got an idea.
Yes.
Why don't we have a Muslim Capital Day show today?
I would love for you to do that, Tom. I'm shocked you offer.
Okay, but we're going to have to deal with, I guess, that's why you put Ahmed Bedier on.
Yes, yes.
You're a sneaky little
Very
Sunni. A sneaky little Sunni, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay, well, today is Muslim Capital Day Report. As you know, here on TrentoVision, we've been following Muslim Capital Day in Tallahassee, Florida, all week because it really has become a significant counter-jihad event. It is part of the Islamic jihad worldwide to do these sort of operations, these dawah operations, these civilization jihad operations. And we noticed 5 years ago when this started, when Muslim Capital Day started in the third largest state in the United States, Florida, 19 million people, about 500,000 maybe Muslims. We only have 2.3 million. You know, I don't even think there's that many. It's very difficult because when you talk to any Muslim leaders, they lie about the numbers like crazy. But I've heard several hundred thousand in the state of Florida. There's 800,000 Jewish people, and the Islamic world must keep up with. They are so envious and jealous of Jewish people that they even had to change the Bible, because the Bible talks about Moses sacrificing Isaac, but when you read Islamic theology, somehow Isaac became Ishmael. They flipped that around, and ever since they've been flipping things upside down.
Are you blasphemizing?
Oh, no. I'm just explaining your book, your theology.
Okay, be very careful.
But you guys believe that this sacrificed son was Ishmael. He wasn't sacrificed, but the one that was going to be. And the Jews believe it was Isaac. And guess what? Can't be both. Somebody's wrong. One of you guys is wrong. We Christians, we side with the Jews on this, that Moses was going to sacrifice Isaac.
Kuffar and kuffar.
Yes, I understand. But what we're going to do today, folks, on TrentoVision.tv, and if you're listening in your automobile, you're listening on WNN, Winter News Network, WNN, 1470 on your dial, and we recommend that everybody downloads iHeartRadio. It's a cool little application for smartphones. I recently was driving a rental car, a brand new rental car. Couldn't even figure out the radio. It had all these, digital things and Sirius and all this stuff going on all over the place. And it had, quadraphonic, this and that. and I just wanted to listen to 1470 AM, and it wouldn't play 1470 AM. It was total static in this beautiful car. And, you know, I'm not a dummy when it comes to this stuff. I mean, I could kind of push the buttons and figure it out. I could not figure out how to.
All I listen to is AM all
what
day.
I did, I took my little iPhone, I put iHeartRadio on, and I listened to Brian Craig and Steve Kane. I listened to those guys as I was driving around in the morning. Crystal clear audio, you can do that. Download WNN on your smartphone and listen to crystal clear digital audio. And if you were listening this morning, Friday the 19th of April at 8 o'clock, I was on the Steve Kane and Brian Craig show, doing a quick update for them on the Boston Marathon Massacre. And as you know, we've been following that. And we will follow that every day next week. It's a critically important global story, critically important in the United States and critically important in our work, counter-jihad work. But by introduction for next week, folks, we have a phenomenal 5-part series. By the end of next week, 22nd through the 26th, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 22nd through the 26th, you may know nothing about the Southern Poverty Law Center on Monday the 22nd. You're going to know so much on Friday the 26th that isn't funny. The Southern Poverty Law Center is a farce, a scam. It's a front organization for radical homosexuals and radical pro-Muslim Brotherhood, anti-American activists. And they've accumulated a war chest, an endowment of $250 million. And they identify groups as hate groups. And then they work with the United States government to teach the government, law enforcement agencies, how to deal with hate groups like the United States. You
hateful Islamophobic bigot, Trento.
Yeah, because of our work in exposing the jihad, the Islamic jihad, propagating a worldview and a spirit of loving human beings, loving Muslims, but disagreeing with a belief system they hold to. Just like communists. People are sucked up into communism. You hate the ideological system. You love the individual. Now, if they want to adhere to the doctrine to the degree that they want to be your enemy, that's a different story. Then you've got to protect the homeland, protect Americans. But because we fight jihad, we've been categorized by the Southern Poverty Law Center, SPLC, as a hate group. Next week, Monday through Friday, we will have subject matter experts like General Jerry Boykin on, talking about the SPLC and his adventures at Family Research Council in Washington, D.C., where last August a radical homosexual activist busted into Family Research Center and tried to kill 15 people there. I'll tell you all about that next week. But today...
Was he going to choke them with chicken sandwiches?
Yes, he was, Abdullah. He had 15 bags of Chick-fil-A sandwiches and several clips in his 9mm. He was going to kill 15 people and take the chicken and rub it in their face. And then go to another place, an organization my friend runs, actually. And we'll have her on next week, too.
What a waste of a good chicken sandwich.
I agree. But the Southern Poverty Law Center is our topic for next week. This week, another bogus organization, United Voices, which is a front group for the Hamas, basically, ideologically. And we're going to deal with Muslim Capital Day in Florida because we sent a couple of our intrepid investigative journalists up to Tallahassee.
I hate them.
Yes, we sent Damon and we sent Alan. Damon and Alan went up there. And Damon, you're here.
I am here.
You're sitting next to Abdullah. You guys get along?
Not really.
What's with him? Does he smell?
A little bit.
He does.
I must say, a little bit, especially if he's been on the camel all day. Jeez.
Yes, that camel stuff can get you.
Oh, may the fleas of 1,000 camels sleep
guys,
in your bed.
Easy, guys. No fighting on TrentoVision. We all love everybody. Kumbaya. We're all interfaith people, okay? All right, but to get the show on the road, we're going to show you another minute or two of Ahmed Bedier. Ahmed Bedier is if you talk to him, he'll say, I'm not a Muslim brother. You do not have to be a card-carrying member of the Communist Party to be identified by Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, former congressman, as being a communist in Congress, member of the Progressive Democratic Caucus. If you hold to the essential fundamental ideologies of a particular political structure, particular political system, then you are de facto at least doctrinaire. And remember that old brouhaha when Alan said, there's 60 or 70 communists in Congress. They all said, no, we're not. Some are not. Most are not card-carrying communists. But they believe the same doctrines. The transfer of private property to control the state, the redistribution of wealth through taxation, all of this.
If it walk like a duck
It's
and
a
quack
communist.
like a duck.
In a similar way, if you have an individual who holds to the tenets of the Muslim Brotherhood, then he doesn't have to be a card-carrying member like Ahmed Bedier. He is de facto, for the fact, a doctrinaire Muslim brother. And if you don't believe me, we're going to show you some evidence as to that fact. Right? But here we go. Take a look at Ahmed. A couple of days ago, earlier this week in Tallahassee, rallying up the troops.
That's what America's about. And America's future depends. We're going to keep chanting that all day. The next session, actually the next session is our prayer. We're going to pray. Because we always need, you can do all the work you can. But at the end of the day, you got to pray to God that it's successful.
Yeah, what God?
Because we're here and we're blessed by God. We have to keep remembering that God is part of this equation. We don't want to impose God on anyone else. But we don't want to impose our idea of God on anyone else.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Liar.
At the same time, we don't want other people's ideas of God to be imposed on us. And in this Constitution, there's a clear separation of church and state. We're not going to allow any lawmaker, any governor, any executive to tell us how to practice our faith. So we're going to go, and this shows the beauty that you can pray, you can play, you can lobby right here in the Capitol building. So we're very proud that you're here. Our prayer is going to be inside, and then we're going to go on.
All right, that was a little bit of Ahmed Bedier. We wanted to give you a feel for the gentleman. We have been tangling with him for a long time. Many years, and many of our colleagues, Joe Kaufman, in fact, has been an Ahmed Bedier analyst. He's listened to every one of his radio shows. He's written extensively on him.
He is president of fan club, no?
Yes, he's the president of the Ahmed Bedier. I don't have a fan club. But we wanted to give you a little feel for him. He is an interesting person. He is almost the prototypical brother. Muslim brother. And when I say that, I mean, as I will show you in a little bit, from the Bible, the Sharia Bible. Very important to get a copy of this, Sharia, The Threat to America. I'm privileged to be one of the 19 authors. We had Diana West on a couple of days ago. She's one of the authors. We've referred to General Jerry Boykin. He's one of the authors. Frank Gaffney, Andy McCarthy, many of the authors. Claire Lopez we've had on. Well, this book will give you the political timeline and the political template for Muslim Brotherhood adherents to insinuate Islam into the structures of the host nation that their dawah, their evangelism requires. See, all of this stuff is written down, and these folks, many of them mindlessly, have to follow their Arab leaders, because that's the Arab mindset. You follow your leaders wherever they tell you to go. And Damon, how many people were up there on that stage with Ahmed Bedier?
Oh, on that stage there were probably less than 100, but if you from everyone that was in the room where he spoke early and with the whole Muslim capital day, was over 200, I'd say. A little over 200.
That's about what he has every year, about 200. And I've been up there many
But
of the
this
years.
was my first year. It was fantastic.
You went too. Did you go? up there?
Yes, yes.
Did you guys go together?
Absolutely not.
No, I didn't think so. Who did you,
I went with Alan.
Oh, you went with Alan.
Yeah.
And Abdullah, were you involved in it, Abdullah?
I was just an observer. I spent a day with many pious Muslims. I got to meet Mr. Bedier and lobby the legislature against Senate Bill 58, as your friend over here was lobbying for it.
Yeah, you two guys were one was for the bill, one was against the bill.
Yes.
What is Senate Bill 58 for our listening and viewing audience?
It's American laws for American courts, or application of foreign law in certain cases. It is an anti-Muslim law because you hate the Muslims.
Okay. Well, that was Mr. Bedier that you guys both ran. Did you both run into Mr. Bedier?
I just introduced myself for a moment and said I was very happy to see him and I appreciate the work he do.
Now, you...
I ran into him also.
Yeah, Damon, Abdullah said that you were running around lobbying for the bill?
Yeah, I was.
And how,
I went to the senator's office and...
and what did you hand something out?
Yes, I did actually. I was handing out some reward flyers. I was offering 25, on your behalf, of course. I was offering 25.
Yes, because I have a spare $25,000.
Yes, well, the truth is it really wasn't needed, but I was offering $25,000 of your money for anyone who could find mention.
And for our donors, trust me, the money that we don't have in our bank account that we hope you replenish was never in doubt and never at risk. How come, Damon?
Because the challenge was anyone who could find mention of Islam, Muslim, or Sharia law in Senate Bill 58 or House Bill 351, we were offering a $25,000 reward to.
I think I may have a picture of that. And what did you do? How'd you go about...
Well, we went to all the senators' offices in the Capitol building. We dropped them off a flyer of the reward and a copy of Obsession.
Hang on. Mike, come to my screen, please. Is this what you passed out, Damon?
That is the one.
All right, for the driving audience.
Only ours were bright green, and you could see them from a quarter mile away.
You had them printed on. For you folks that are driving, I'm showing on the screen right now on TrentoVision.tv at 17 minutes past 5 o'clock on Friday, April 19th. I'm showing one of the pieces of collateral material that Damon and Alan passed out up in Tallahassee on Muslim Capital Day. And it reads like this, the United West logo on the top. So we wanted everyone to know who was putting this out. We always put our name on stuff. $25,000 reward. Application of foreign law in certain cases. House Bill 351, Senate Bill 58. The United West will pay $25,000. I'm so glad those words aren't in there. To anyone who can find in the official text of HB 351 and Senate Bill 58 the word Sharia, Islam, or Muslim. And stop the lies.
My friend, foreign law is code word for Sharia law. Did you not know this?
Oh, foreign law is
foreign law is code word. It is like the, as Chris Matthew would say, the dog whistle.
Dog whistle. Okay. I'm getting text on all this stuff. Okay, well, let me see. In order to expose these lies, there's a big stop the lies. The United West will pay $25,000 to anyone that can find these words. It's time for the United Voices. It's time for CARE. And Reverend Joel Hunter, he was that Christian pastor that, that was the dhimmi, D-H-I-M-M-I, the useful idiot. There's a term in an Arabic term.
Oh, the fat white man.
Yeah, the fat white man. There's an Arabic term called dhimmi. Dhimmitude is appeasing Muslim supremacism. And Reverend Joel Hunter bowed down to some of his Muslim friends and took a position. This is a fellow that preaches.
I gave him a flyer.
Did you? He was
Yeah,
up
I did.
there? Was he really up there?
Yeah.
On behalf of them? He went that far?
I am pretty sure that was him. He
Wow.
was a large man, gray hair, and he actually did a prayer in the room with Bedier.
I can't.
I'm almost positive that's who you're speaking of, unless the guy really looked a lot like him and happened to be a preacher, a pastor also.
If I'm going to send this thing to my email, and I will be able to show this that I just got from somebody. Who sent me? Oh, Dave. Okay. I don't know if, but we can find out. But I don't know.
A gift from the air.
Yes, a gift from the. I don't know if Reverend Joel Hunter would actually go up there, because I wrote the guy a letter, and I owe him a book. I'm going to give him a Sharia book. I said, Reverend Hunter, are you out of your mind? I did it very nicely, because he was getting death threats and all of this, and that's crazy stuff, folks. Look, this is an ideological battle in the United States of America. We, TrentoVision, our team, the United West, we do get death threats by crazy folks, and we argue for the rule of law. So
that was not him. That was not him.
Okay.
It was another heavy set. It was a heavy set.
Okay.
White.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine.
I
him
do
going.
apologize. I apologize. I was wrong on that.
I couldn't imagine him, because he took a lot of hell from a lot of people. But even if you disagree with these guys, don't be doing stupid things like death threats or any kind of threat at all. That goes nowhere. It destabilizes the counter-jihad movement, which is critically important. And we're part of the counter-jihad movement. And, you know, the essential fundamental purpose for why we do this is the rule of law. Rex lex. The law, Rex is above lex, the king, not the other way around. In Islam, lex, Sharia, is above the king and everybody else. That's not American democracy. So there's the flyer you handed out. I think I may be able to get a copy of the other item. Explain the other item. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Are you talking about the packet for the Muslims in attendance?
No, the little video you sent out. You sent out a video. I mean, you handed out a video too?
Oh, Obsession, Radical Islam's War on the West. And I gave one a flyer and a movie to each senator's office that we went into, and then we were also handing them out to people walking through the outside of the Capitol, and even handed out some to Mr. Bedier's constituency there.
What did they say when they saw it?
There was some mixed reaction. Some wouldn't take it because Ahmed spent 5 minutes in their main morning session warning them not to talk to Alan or I for things that had happened in the past from people approaching people from your evil organization.
I got to tell you, you guys are pretty slick. Very quickly on, and Mike, I'm going to have you come to my screen in a second, not yet. I've been very involved with the movie Obsession, Radical Islam's War Against the West. There's no secret about that. In 2008, the movie came out in 2006, and was very instrumental in my life. I have a background in a lot of this stuff, but when I saw this movie at the end of 2006, November, I said, oh my God, this thing puts the whole problem of Islam together. Obsession, Radical Islam's War Against the West. That a portion of Muslims worldwide have an obsession with warring against the West. And that's what this movie's about.
That is what we do.
That's what you do. And I saw it, and once I saw it, I said, all right, time for me to jump in and get re-involved in the battle, and I did. And then 2 years later, I was involved in the largest distribution on the history of the universe of a DVD. We distributed about 30 million copies of this movie. The estimates that I've heard was it was about a $20 million campaign. I was involved at every level. And again, that's not a secret. And I took a team to the Democrat National Convention in Denver, Colorado in 2008. And I took a team to St. Paul, Minnesota, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the Twin Cities for the Republican Convention, and we distributed these things all over the place. I hired airplanes pulling banners and trucks and thousands and millions of DVDs.
You are a very evil infidel.
If I had to point to one piece of media or material that impacted America's consciousness and psyche on the necessity of standing against the Islamic Jihad, it's this movie. That's how good it is. You guys took the movie. I see your sneaky little piece of paper there. Tell us about that, Damon.
Well, Tom.
Mike, put this on, please.
I think it was kind of your idea.
Oh, was it?
But we put Florida 2013 Muslim Capital Day with the Islamic flag with the crescent moon and star and a gift for you underneath. And you would be shocked how many I gave out to some of the Muslims attending Muslim Capital Day.
Were you trying to make that look like it was coming from Ahmed Bedier?
Absolutely not.
Oh, I thought that's what I was trying to do. No. Oh, no, it's not what I was trying to do. No, I mean, it's just a factual thing.
I was celebrating Muslim Capital Day, and I figured it'd make a nice gift.
I thought it was kind of cute. I thought it was kind of cute.
They were giving away information packets.
Yes.
I figured let's give them something to throw in their MP or their players for their bus ride home.
Yes, I thought it was a cute idea, and more importantly, the key was getting the DVD out. And when somebody watches that, it's extremely difficult to listen to Mr. Bedier's propaganda up at Muslim Capital Day. Now, let's play. He was up there for a very specific purpose, and he put a video together campaigning against Senate Bill 58, correct? And before we show that, Senate Bill 58, the House, the way a bill becomes law, both branches of the legislature have their own version, then it gets put together, and there's votes on both of them, and the governor signs off on it. Well, there's only two big steps left. The Senate Bill 58 has to go to the Rules Committee, and then once it passes that, which it looks like it will, it goes to the full floor vote for the Senate. If it gets approved there, it's going to be approved at the House, and then the governor signs off on it. Then it's a bill. And all the bill does, it simply reiterates the fact that if you're an American citizen, you got to be a citizen to have constitutional rights. Even if Mr. Obama wants to change that for a bunch of illegal immigrants. Oh, did I say illegal? Whatever the hell their new name is that you can't call these folks anymore. But what American laws for American courts does is simply make sure a woman or a man from another country who comes from some bogus country, whether it's in the Netherlands or in Southeast Asia.
Watch it, please.
Or in Asia or in the Middle East, and they got married or they had some sort of deal under their crazy laws in Africa. You know those African countries that there's like 40 people in and it's a country? They have their own set of laws. When those folks come to America and become American citizens, do we want Djibouti law to prevail in the state of Florida? Do we want Mauritania law to prevail? If two people agreed to that law and one now says, I'm an American citizen, I left Djibouti. I want nothing to do with Djibouti. American laws for American courts simply establishes the fact that the American Constitution, U.S. Constitution, and Florida Constitution prevail. Now, I don't know why anybody would be against this, but let's listen to Mr. Ahmed Bedier.
Hey, assalamu alaikum, this is Ahmed Bedier. Hey, assalamu alaikum, this is Ahmed Bedier, founder and president of United Voices for America and the chief organizer for Florida Muslim Capital Day. And I'm standing here at the State Capitol building in Tallahassee, Florida, where we're rallying hundreds of constituents from across the state to come here to the State Capitol building to pressure lawmakers to make sure that they vote no on Senate Bill 58. Here's the latest update on Senate Bill 58, also known as the application of foreign law in certain cases, sponsored by Alan Hayes and Larry Metz here in Florida. As you know, in order for a bill to become law, it has to pass both the House and the Senate. And before it can do that, it has to go through a bunch of committees on both the House and the Senate. Now, so far in the House, it has cleared all the committees in the House and all but one committee in the Senate. So this bill is on its way to the floors for a final vote. And unless you act, unless we work together to defeat this bill, this will become law in the state of Florida. Just because you're not up here with us in Tallahassee does not mean that you can't support us. We need your help today. We need you to help us amplify our voice, to send a clear message to the lawmakers here that Senate Bill 58 has no place in Florida and has no place across the country. 3 quick but effective things that you can do right now to help us while we're up here in Tallahassee. 1, you pick up the phone and dial the lawmakers on the screen and tell them to oppose Senate Bill 58. You can sign the petition and send an email directly to the lawmakers telling them to oppose Senate Bill 58.
And number three, your financial support is critical to our campaign. This fight is not over, and we're rallying hundreds of people up here. We need to know that you've got our back, that you'll support us. So make a financial contribution, regardless of the amount. Every dollar helps, and we need your support right now. So again, this is Ahmed Bedier from United Voices, Chief Organizer of Florida Muslim Capital Day.
Figured out, after all these years, that is Ahmed Bedier. It's Ahmed Bedier. You got to get the spit, and you thought Ahmed Bedier, because that's how he pronounced. I used to say Ahmed Bedier, but he says Ahmed Bedier. That hurts. I have no word. Ahmed Bedier. That's Ahmed Bedier, folks. That's, see, when you're a Muslim brother, you have perfected the interdisciplinary and skill of adjusting to your circumstances. If you need to be a smooth-talking, conciliatory individual that's very diplomatic, like he was there, he can do that. If you need to be a tough guy and push the people around, he can do that too. But the root of all of this is, who is this gentleman who was the communications director in the state of Florida for CARE, Council on American Islamic Relations? That is a terrorist organization. Many of its leaders are in jail right now, convicted of terrorism crimes against the United States. They are now CARE an unindicted co-conspirator, which means the federal government said, you know what, if we indict you, CARE, then you get in America what's called due process. The clock runs, and we've got to perform on your timetable. We think we're going to leave you unindicted, and we're just going to kind of sniff around, because when you're unindicted and you're a co-conspirator, we have a lot of rights and not that many responsibilities where we can keep an eye on you. CARE is an unindicted co-conspirator. And
if it wasn't for Eric Holder, probably would have been an indicted conspiracy.
Probably would have been indicted, but the Department of Justice can indict at any point. But your point is well taken, Damien. See, I told you, Damon. Your point is well taken, because he is not going to indict these guys, Holder.
Holder would never do that. He'd indict you first.
He lets them out. Well, yeah, the Army may be doing that. So, Mr. Bedier, well, I don't have to tell you. Do you have the last year, Mr. Bedier, the 2012 version?
I can find that for you.
Yeah, find the 2012 version of Ahmed Bedier, and we're doing an expose on Muslim Day in Florida. Now, our radio station, WNN, goes from North Miami all the way up to Orlando, out to the Everglades, covers a lot of people, like 5 million people in the state of Florida. We do national security radio. We bring you global issues from Israel and Iran and all over the globe. We also give you the United States perspective on terrorism issues, on immigration problems. But we're also a local radio station. TrentoVision, the TV component, internet TV, goes worldwide. The radio station also goes worldwide if you listen on wwnnradio.com. You can go to the website and stream it, the audio, or you can listen on iHeartRadio. But the fact of the matter is, we are very local conscious. That's why we do a lot of work in Florida. And Florida is a bellwether state in many respects, particularly on the jihad, for the rest of the nation. So we're focusing today on Muslim Capital Day, which started here 5 years ago in Florida, now is in about 4 or 5 other states. And guess who is leading the expansion of Muslim Capital Day throughout the United States? Anybody want to take a wild guess? Mr. Bedier was recently in Missouri for Muslim Capital Day. There was a Muslim Capital Day in Texas back in February. That's where one of the speakers said that Islamic law supersedes everything, and we don't follow American law.
Sharia-compliant Muslim, you're above U.S. law.
You're above U.S. law, yeah. So
I love that.
So we're bringing all of this together for our viewers and listeners so that you are aware, you're awake, and you get involved. If you want to get involved with us, write to me, Tom at TrentoVision.tv. Tom at TrentoVision.tv. You can get hooked up with us. Who knows? You may even be in here helping us run the show on a regular basis. Or if you prefer, I've spoken to many people who said, look, we're not like you guys. We can't put our neck out on the line and do this sort of stuff for whatever reason. But you guys need a little scratch, a little bit of help. We'll write some checks to help you out.
Please send us money. We're starving.
Yes. So if you could help that way. We view money as ammunition, and our weapons are not physical weapons, not guns and knives and swords and spears. Our guns are cameras, brains, books, glasses so we can read, microphones. We're digital warriors, if you will. Digital jihadis fighting against... Digital posse. We're the digital posse, right. So if you can donate, go to TrentoVision.tv, and it says donate securely. Are we ready for Bedier 1.0? You just saw, folks, Ahmed Bedier 2.0, 2013. Listen to Bedier 1.0, 2012.
Representatives learned a lesson that if you're going to go after the Muslim community is going to go after you. And we're not going to stay quiet. We're not going to sit back. When you punch, we're going to punch you twice as hard. When you fight us, we're going to fight you twice, 3 times as hard, and we're not going to stop fighting politically until you're out of office, because we deserve better.
Preach it, brother.
And you saw all the people that are walking the hallways. Most of them are white, blonde, pretty, and with no substance. I'm telling you. So we don't want just pretty people walking around here. One thing that's missing in Tallahassee are minorities. Not just Muslims.
Minorities are ugly?
You hardly saw any black people in the hallways. You hardly saw any black people in office. You hardly saw any black people on staff. Most of the black people in this building are working in housekeeping in the cafeteria and maybe security. What does it say about what happens in Tallahassee?
Hell, the Constitution was written by racist slave owners. So who cares? The Constitution was written by slave holders, and even some of our I said racist slave holders. If you own a person,
that's not distracting.
If you own a person, I believe that is racist.
Also, the Act for America hate group.
Oh, the hate group.
So the Southern Poverty Law Center has said
Hate group.
I don't think ACT is a hate group. I don't think it's really good.
What's a hate group?
Somebody who hates on others.
Oh my goodness.
Smack.
Ahmed Bedier with his hate-filled agenda.
We don't have to go through all that. That was Ahmed Bedier 2012. Our cameras caught him in action, and it's ironic because Islamic history. You can read this you can Google it. Islamic history is replete with perfecting the slave trade, and to this day, I mean, the Saudis still have slaves. In Afghanistan, there are still slaves, sex slaves, all kinds of slaves. So it's ironic that he's talking about Ahmed Bedier, talking about the plight of the blacks when his folks have perpetrated this. But that was him last year. You heard him today. Let me show you a couple of pictures. Then we got some videos, Damon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I want to see a couple of videos here. Take a look at my screen, Mike. When Damon and Alan went up, we did a show earlier this week. Today's Friday the 19th, 2013, and 38 minutes past 5 o'clock on the East Coast on this beautiful beginning to a wonderful weekend. We want everyone to have a safe weekend. But a couple of days earlier, we put this email out. Ahmed Bedier was going up there to attack the legislators and women and whites. He didn't do that this year, did he, Damon? It's kind of cool, right?
I didn't hear any of that.
All right.
But then again, I wasn't able to get into the room where the original morning was. I was thrown out.
You were thrown out of the room?
I was thrown out. Now, on my way in, I was called the slime from underneath a rock for even trying.
Who called you that?
Ahmed Bedier did.
I want to hear about that. Look at this on the screen. We got a copy of his plan, and they were going up there. I mean, they didn't make a secret out of this. They called it an anti-Sharia. That's why you had the $25,000.
Correctamundo.
And they were passing this material. They were using this material here you're looking at, folks, to organize their effort to fight against Senate Bill 58. Why, And they kept saying, they being the Muslim community and Ahmed Bedier in Florida, kept saying, we don't want Sharia law. We would never want Sharia law as part of Florida or U.S. Constitution. Well, then why are they afraid of a law? If somebody,
I tried to ask them that.
If somebody told me, my nationality is my heritage Italian, and if the state of Florida was going to make a law banning Italian law, I wouldn't fight against it. I'd be all for it. Who the hell wants Italian crazy law? Well, look at Ahmed Bedier's vacation pictures, folks. Here he is in Tahrir Square helping overthrow Hosni Mubarak, 2011, February. Here he is recently at Mecca, the Kaaba, the black building back there with the magic moonstone, the meteorite that fell to the earth. That's part of the worship of Islam, is in the corner of that black building. And here is Ahmed Bedier, human rights specialist. He sat on the Human Rights Commission in Tampa. No Jews or Christians allowed in Mecca. And here he is with his tank crew and a tank that helped overthrow Hosni Mubarak. So this is the guy.
Very brave man, Ahmed, no?
Well, let's see how brave. Let's see some of your videos now. Show us a couple of videos.
Well, here, this is a little bit before Ahmed came out. He was one of the last ones to come out. But this is just minutes, maybe 15 minutes before. Discriminatory. Huh?
Do you mind?
You love to do it?
Do you mind?
Yeah, I mind.
Okay.
I mind foreign laws in our American courts. That's what I mind. I have no problem with Muslims or Islam. I have a problem with Sharia law in U.S. courts. That's my problem. So there's a $25,000 award for anyone that can pinpoint in the law the word Islam, Sharia, or Muslim. It is not discriminatory. And also, Bassem al-Halabi, when he was arrested here for assault 2 years ago, the charges were not dropped. He pled guilty. So when Ahmed Bedier tells you that the charges were dropped, that's an outright lie. Okay? He pled guilty. And it's on film. And it happened right in front of police officers. You could go on the internet and find it. And Ahmed Bedier claims that he's a great debater and he'd love to debate. I challenge Ahmed Bedier. Tom Trento challenges Ahmed Bedier to a debate at any time and at any place. A true debate. So your boy who likes to claim that he's such a great debater might want to take us up and we could settle this in a debate.
Hey, them sounds like fighting words to me there, Damon. You're right in the middle of the fray there, huh?
Yeah, you don't mind me offering you up for debate.
Well, no, it's okay. For a while there, early on, 2006, 7, the early years when I got involved, I was debating imams and Muslims on college campuses and different places, and then that all got shut down. They don't like being exposed, particularly in front of an audience. So, but all right, that was very interesting.
Then Ahmed came out a few minutes later.
All right, let's see that.
Can you honestly tell me why this bill is discriminatory, Mr. Bedier? Mr.
You
Bedier.
and Ahmed.
Can you explain to me how this bill is discriminatory? Can you explain to me how this bill is discriminatory? Can you tell me why you're against this bill? Can you tell me why you're against this bill? Can you tell me why you think I'm slime from under a rock?
Oh, he called you slime from under a rock?
Can you tell me why you told the people that charges were dropped against Bassem al-Halabi when in fact he pled guilty?
Wow. All right, so you had an opportunity. That was up in Tallahassee. You just heard Damon. He was with Alan. Alan's our director in Orlando of the United West. Alan Damon went up a couple of days ago. Today's Friday, the 19th of April, 44 minutes past 5 p.m. on the east coast of Florida. Get ready for a wonderful weekend.
And then then a few minutes after that, after him ignoring me, we went down to the bus and had a little conversation, and then within 2 minutes of this that just finished up, here's where he and I continue our conversation.
Oh, part two, Damon and Ahmed.
This is part two of
Let's hear it.
Ahmed.
Mike.
Well, why don't you answer my questions?
No one wants to talk to you.
Well, because you know what? You come here trying to turn the legislature, but you don't want to tell anyone the truth. That's why.
There's no need to speak if no one's talking to you.
Okay, you don't talk to me then. How's that?
That's his goon trying to keep
Mr. Bedier.
Talking to people who don't
Mr. Bedier, is there a reason you said that the legislature, this is legislation with no purpose?
if no one's speaking to you.
I'm not speaking to you.
Are you speaking to me?
No. There is no reason when in fact at least 4 cases in the state of Florida have invoked Sharia law. At least 4 cases. At least 4 cases where the courts have used Sharia law in the state of Florida, over 50 nationwide. And you're telling us that there's no need for this legislation. You're a liar, Mr. Bedier. You are a liar.
Woo! Whoa! What did he say to that?
That was very disrespectful, you
I would
little
think
Jew.
so, from your point of view, Imam Abdullah.
Very disrespectful.
Now,
How
let me set this up for the audience. Let me set this up. Tom Trento here, your host of TrentoVision.tv. CJ is not with us today. She's on assignment, and it's Friday the 19th of April. 46 minutes past the hour. 5 o'clock is the hour on the East Coast. You're listening on WNN 1470. We are summing up the week with our report on Muslim Capital Day. And just briefly, and Damon just had a little run-in with one of America's top Muslim Brotherhood leaders, Ahmed Bedier. We have tracked his comings and goings into the White House, and he's a frequent visitor in the White House. But if you go to this book, which is the Bible of Sharia, the Threat to America.
Please, no one buy this book.
No. Amazon, $14. I'll virtually sign it for you, one of the authors. If you go here, we lay out the plan for the Muslim Brotherhood. Actually, we reprint the plan the Muslim Brotherhood wrote. And they have a 5-phase plan to accomplish the hijrah. The Hajj is when Muslims accomplish one of the 5 pillars, the Hajj. They go to Mecca once in their lifetime at least. The hijrah is the conquest, the emigration, leaving. When you leave a country, you emigrate out. When you come in, you immigrate in. The emigration out of Islamic lands into non-Islamic lands is called the hijrah. And we refer to it as the Trojan horse. It's when the Muslim world goes into a host country, and then they have a 5-part plan to start to dominate that country, and usually it's a 50 or 100-year plan. And they've been doing it for 1,400 years. Phase 1 is discrete and secret establishment of leadership within the host country. Phase 2, Phase 2, gradual appearances on the public scene and exercising and utilizing various public activities.
Check.
It greatly succeeded in implementing this phase. It also succeeded in achieving a great deal of its important goals, such as infiltrating various sectors of the government.
Check.
Gaining religious institutions.
Check.
Embracing senior scholars.
Check.
Gaining public support and sympathy.
Very check.
Establishing a shadow government within the government.
I don't know yet. Coming very soon, inshallah.
All right. Well, that's phase 2 that the Muslim Brotherhood is in the United States. Phase 3, escalation phase, prior to conflict and confrontation with the rulers through utilizing mass media, currently in process in the U.S.
Thank you, Bintalil.
Phase 4, open public confrontation with the government through exercising political pressure.
Like Muslim Capital Day?
It is aggressively implementing the above-mentioned approach, training on using of weapons domestically and overseas in anticipation of 0 hour.
Like Islamberg?
Phase 5, and this is what happened in the so-called Arab Spring, seizing power to establish their Islamic nation under which all parties and Islamic groups are united. That's what's happening now in the Middle East with the Muslim Brotherhood. We are in phase 2, there's no question. And as you stay tuned to TrentoVision, WNN 1470, we will reveal more of this. But this is what, Damon, you're running into up there, as Islam doesn't go up there to assimilate as much as they say they want to. It's to dominate.
Wait, you don't think Dearborn, Michigan is a perfect example of assimilation? The melting pot. Remember when America used to be the melting pot for immigrants? Not so much.
Not so much. No, Dearborn's a gone city. Everybody calls it Dearborn City. You got any more videos?
I could go back to just some, when I was starting to issue the $25,000 challenge.
Let me just ask you about it.
Yeah.
On my screen right here, not yet, Mike. Let me get it queued up. Okay, come to my screen. This is. Do you have the? Well,
how did you get my packet?
Yeah, I got your packet. Ahmed Bedier hands out a packet every year.
You stole my packet, Trento.
Here's. Now I got a question because last year they used the 22nd floor of the state capitol, which is an open public space, and we brought our cameras in there and we taped them. This year they rented the old historic Capitol building, which we have done, the United West has done for saluting the military, but we were told when we had to sign a contract, we couldn't do any politicizing, any political stuff. And, no lobbying, nothing like that.
Different rules for different people, apparently, because this was a lobbying planning session. Basically, he was instructing, I could listen through the door. I heard what was going on in there. And they were basically prepping these people for how to go pressure the legislator. It was an absolute lobbying.
Well, let's establish that. Come to my screen for a second, Mike, please. Here's the piece of paper, the instructions that were handed out in the folder to each of the Muslim activists. And oppose Senate Bill 58 and 351. Again, folks, and why this is important to everybody watching, whatever state you're in. Come back to me for a second. Whatever state you're in, why this is important. Because a model has been developed in the state of Florida that's coming to your state soon. And you're going to have to take a stand against this because this is the hijra. This is the emigration of the Muslim Brotherhood's plan into your state. We're fighting it here in Florida. You need to fight it where you are. Come back to my screen. This is a clear lobbying effort against two bills that outlaw what Muslims say they don't want as law, Sharia law. They don't want Sharia law in the United States. Okay, then we're outlawing foreign laws under which Sharia law would be applicable, but they don't want that law.
Discrimination.
Strange. Very strange. But look at this again. Stay on me. A necessary agenda-driven bill designed to discriminate and limit the practices of religious minorities. There's an exception, Mike. There's an exception in the bill that in no way, shape, or form can limit the practice of religious minorities. It's accepted. So that's a lie. Go back to the bill for a second. Selective use of legislation to intimidate the Muslim American community over here. That's completely crazy. That's a complete lie. Back to the bill. Violates a person's constitutional right to contract. Lie. There's a carve-out in there that says that has nothing to do with it. As long as the contract doesn't violate a person's constitutional rights, if they choose to have their rights recognized. There's nothing to say that if you choose to live by your divorce law or whatever, and you go to a municipal place and somehow it's resolved, and you're happy with that, all well and be. If you choose to want U.S. constitutional and Florida constitutional rights to apply in your particular case, doesn't it make sense that you have that right in the United States of America? That's all this is for. So this is all lies. Back to this for a second. Back to this for a second. Back to violates separation of powers by telling the judiciary how to interpret law. Violates separation by telling the judiciary how to interpret law. That doesn't even make sense.
This is Popomyces.
Yeah, this makes no sense. So, in any event, as we sum this up with just a couple of minutes left, the instructions that Ahmed Bedier gave to his folks are completely bogus. The battle rages. Today's the 19th of April. And from what I understand, have you heard, Damon, when the vote is going to take place up there in the Senate Rules Committee?
I am not sure, to tell you the truth.
I'm sure it's
coming up real soon.
Yeah, we only have a couple of weeks left in the legislature.
It should be within the next few days, actually.
And we saw the video, folks. So if you're from Florida, and even not from Florida, if you want to call if you want to get involved, contact me, Tom at TrentoVision.tv. We'll tell you exactly how to get involved, so that your voice, your heard, your activism can be can have an effect. This is a big battle. This is the third year in Florida attempting to get American laws for American courts part of the Constitution, or constitutional protection for folks who are Americans and want
and really
the Constitution.
The main beneficiaries of that are going to be women and children.
Primarily women and children from third world countries that have completely bogus, discriminatory rules in marriage and in child custody, all of that. But the first year was a little confusing. Second year, everything was great. The bill, it was a tough fight, but it went through the Senate, went through the House, was coming up for a full vote. And Senator Mike Herodopoulos, in an argument with one of the authors, chose not to bring the bill, which would have passed, up last year. So this is the third year for this, and 3 times a charm. So we need everyone's help in getting this thing passed this year. So, all right, Damon, a couple of thoughts. We got maybe a minute left. Take 30 seconds or so. What are your thoughts? Your first time at Muslim Day?
It was my first time.
It was my first time as well.
Oh, that's right. Both of you. Damon, you go first.
Well, I thought it was, there was a lot of irony involved. I mean, you have people saying that they don't want Sharia law, yet they're battling so hard to keep a law that just says foreign law, okay? So one, they say they don't want Sharia law. So the bill says foreign law, yet somehow it's still discriminatory against Muslims.
And you smoked them out with the $25,000.
$25,000.
Anybody take that up, that challenge?
It was amazing. I had one guy say, he was a doctor living in England that said that, he had German people coming to England so he could perform circumcisions. And I said, that doesn't say, so I had a couple people say, so give me the money. I said, so show me the words. If you want, let's end the show on a video.
Well, give Abdullah.
I thought it was fantastic. It was good to see my Muslims going and using the American democratic system to turn your world on your own miserable head.
Abdullah.
Yes.
Seriously, between you and me, nobody's listening, nobody's watching. Any of the chicks, Muslim chicks, anything going on there?
Some look pretty good.
Yes?
There was no burqa, no niqab. It was only hijab. Only hijab, so they're very, very risque.
What do you want to close on? We'll close on whatever you want.
You say happy weekend.
Okay.
You say.
I say happy weekend.
I say Allah Akbar.
Okay.
And a little bit of this for the end.
In Senate Bill 58, $25,000 reward to anyone who can find that.
What a great way to end.
$25,000 reward to anyone
and there
who
it
can
is.
find
Thank you very much,
anti-Sharia.
folks. We'll see you on Monday.